Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing okay. I want to say that we're going to be working on a chunky charm, a travel chunky charm, and all the charms that you'll be seeing today come from BeebeeCraft. I did not pay for them. As you all probably saw, I did a haul video, and I'll put that in the description box where I showed you all these wonderful little charms and pieces that I got from them. And so now I'm doing some videos. I'm going to be doing a series of videos until I use all the charms up and all the other pieces. They are holiday pieces that I have, and as you all know, I never kind of march to the beat of the drum. I'm always a little bit offbeat, which is okay with me. So what I've done is I just took all the, I think I got all of them, but I think I'm missing one, and I'll do that off camera real quick. So I got all of them out, and I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. Did I want to put all the charms on one chunky charm, or did I want to break it up? And I think that I am going to break it up. So this will be a transportation one. So, you know, we use a train, a car, a boat, and an airplane. And I really like this little airplane. Just really cool. It has like the little windows on there. All of the pieces are very cool in my opinion. So yeah, so this is going to be a tutorial video. I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a project share or not, or I may just do two chunky charms, one on camera, one off camera, and then do project shares. And another piece is this little bicycle. I told you it was some more. It's all like little trinkets and goodies hidden under there. So I think a 5-piece charm would be very cool. Okay, as you recall, I got two little boxes along with the buttons, which are really cool. I want to save these for the next project that I do, which will be a Christmas one. But I want to pull out this charm, as I told you before, and I'll leave this for the next project as well. That all you really needed was the tools, because this kit right here comes with everything that you need. It has this nice piece of chain in here already. You see it's very long. And for chunky charm, I normally do count the links out, only because the links coincide with the charms as well as the chunky part stuff. So we have 5 charms, and I think we'll go larger to smallest when it comes to how, you know, like how it's going to be, or even we could do the mode, so you can ride a bike to get to the car, to go to the airport, to get on a boat, to catch a train. I don't know. I'm just going to keep them large to small. I think that'll be cool. And this one is heavy, so we'll put that at the bottom because it's going to dangle really nice. So we're just going to slide those to the side, and we're going to find our end piece. And so I don't have a ruler, but I always just kind of eyeball it. And this chain is pretty decent heaviness, so it's very good. And I think that this will be enough. And the reason why I say this is because the longer your chain, the more things you're gonna have to put on your link. Okay, and I just count out my link. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I counted out roughly about 30. And now where I'm at, I'm right here on the chain that I'm going to take apart the link. So you just need some pliers, or you can use your fingers. I chopped off all my fingernails, and so my fingernails will not be very good. And all you got to do is just twist. If you get a good grip, all it takes is 1 or 2 good twists on it to separate them. And I have lost my piece, but it's there somewhere. So I just recounted out 30 again. And I'm just twisting, and I'm holding on to it, and see it just pops off. Now, if you want to save this link, you can. This link that we just popped off, you can save it. You don't have to save it. You know, I just kind of keep everything in case I need that. And now what I'm going to do is pick out some things, and I think that this will be kind of like a array of colors, because When I think of the ocean as well as the sky, I think of blue and white and greens. For the bicycle, I would think, like, if you're riding, you can see the flowers blooming. So maybe some pinks and yellows and reds. And train, you see all kinds of stuff, as well as the vehicle, the car, unless you're like doing something very specific. So we're going to pull out just some random colors for that. We're going to pull out our chain. Even though this is 30 links, it doesn't seem like 30 links. So in between each one, we'll have one here. Then, we'll have one there, one here, and one at the top. So this kind of looks like a short chain, but it's really not, especially when you're getting 30 things to prepare, or 25. So we're going to put these to the side. We're going to put all these to the side, and now we're going to pull out some colors. All right, so I have all my stuff everywhere. My normal little craftiness for my chunky charm or jewelry making stuff is not in the room, it's downstairs, because I was like, let me take the stuff downstairs and I can do it when the little roommate is, doing whatever his thing is. I don't want him to come in the craft room and, be talking in the background and all that stuff, especially with the whole new regulations about child actors and blah, 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 and all that other stuff. So it's easier when he's either being supervised by another adult or he's asleep. So these, again, the charms come from BeebeeCraft. So this is primarily for them. So I'll just tell you that you can get your head pins, which we're going to be using now, head pins or eye pins, from a big box store or Wally World. So I'm going to pull out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I really like these decorative head pins because it just gives projects so much more, like a whole different feel to it. And so we have some circle, and then we have some square. I think we'll just do 4, 2 square and 2 circle. And then we'll, because these are kind of like flowers, and then we'll put these 2 on here as well. We'll do 6 total. And these are like stamens. Very pretty, or clusters of some grapes maybe, but I like those a lot. And then we have our traditional thing that I normally use, which are eye pins. I've been cleaning up my craft space, which really means been making a mess in my craft space. So I have to get that together. And then we're going to just use some silver, like shiny silver. What is this called? It just says eye pins, but some shiny silver eye pins. So we need about 25 of these things. So I'm not going to count them all. I'm just going to put them to the side. And normally how I like to do this is when we're doing a full-fledged tutorial, I like to go start to finish with you. So we'll do a few together. And I don't think I pulled out enough things. And as I stated, if we look at our charms and how we're going to do them, and if we think about travel, we'll do the bicycle pieces first, because if you're riding bikes, you see all kinds of stuff. So you may see some trees. This is a good representation of a tree. Some green stuff, and we may see some flowers going on. And so that is normally, I put 1 to 2 or 3 pieces on, depending on what's going on. And then I have these right here. I don't know where I got these from at all. It says Cousin brand, but that doesn't mean anything. I think some of this stuff is my mom's that I've been going through and just kind of pulling it out. So that's really cool. And so the blue, could be like some water, a pond that the person may have passed by. And so what I normally do is I like to do my assembly line fashion. The problem with this one is I don't like it. So we're going to do small, skinny, medium, like that. I think it'll look cool. So we'll do a few of these assembly line, and then I got some clear ones, some clear glass beads, just because it's cool. I like those, and they don't have to be the same size or anything like that. They don't have to be anything you don't want them to be. but I just use the eye pin. I think that's really cool. That's 3. Lots of pinks going on here. But I got these black. Now this is going to sound a little bit weird. Have you ever taken a train before? You know, I've taken a few trains from various places like Connecticut to New York and Maryland and such places like that. So I always think of the black as like the train tracks. And in that case, you know, we'll have some black for our train charm that we have right here, as well as some white. And then I think we'll just throw in a blue on here. And like you see this one, I'm not sure if I actually like this piece now. I'm not sure about that piece, but we're going to leave it alone for now. And whenever I do the chunky charms, I don't want the charms to be so precise. Like you see, I have different color material right here, some pewter colors, some shiny, and then some not so shiny, only because I want it to be eclectic when it comes to those pieces. So we're just going to go ahead, and I like that this head pin is not flat. I like a decorative head pin over a flat head pin because it just makes it easier to apply the beads on and not worry about them falling off. So I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. So this is pretty cool like that. I do want to put some smaller pieces on. And the thing about that, if you're concerned about, you know, wasting any of your materials, you could always take some wire, just plain wire, make your own head pin at the bottom, so you don't have to worry about that too much. But in this case, I'm not too concerned about that because I need a lot of room to work with. Because as you all know, when I tell you that my eye pins are not the best, it's just you got to keep practicing to make them look decent. So that's what I do. Now, if you come across one of your eye pins, your jewels or beads that may be too big, you can always get a bead stopper to make it work. And I just want to add that for some decoration. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one. I think I'm going to keep this pin. I think we'll see. This jump ring. This you know what I'm trying to say. Chunky charm. Thank you. Because sometimes my brain don't work. If you hear any noise in the background, my entire family is awake and running around, the little roommate and the big roommate. But I just decided to come in. I haven't crafted in a while, and I just needed to be with my people. So we have a few pins already done, and now what we're going to do, we're just going to pretend like everything is already complete. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our wire, not our wire, our tool. This is a wire cutter, so a dual piece. I'm going to take it, and you see right here, we're just going to go down here, and we're going to bend it to a 90-degree angle. And what I would recommend right here is you do all of them at the exact same time. Just go ahead and bend them. But for our purpose, we're not going to do that. And then we're going to cut how much we think we need to make a good eye pin fold. I'm always nervous about cutting it because I'm like, I need more. But, you know, see, this is the only waste that you really have if you're concerned about waste. And you can make an eye pin out of that if you're really, really good. I am not that eye pin savvy yet. I always say that, and then I end up making like really good ones. And then when I get too confident, of course, I screw it up. So now what I'm going to do is, you see right here, we're going to put this right here. We're going to push this all the way to the very edge. And I've been watching a few videos to make sure I can get them better and better. And now what I have found that works for me is I just take it. You know, I'm a lefty, so I take it and I just hold it as tight as possible and I round it back over just like that without moving anything but my hand. And then I release it, go back in and curve it. And then, so it kind of looks ugly right there, but that's okay because that's what tools are for. You can take this, bend it back, and look, you have an eye pin. All right. Yes, we're going to do another one, but I want to go ahead and curl this all the way down. I want to make it a double curl or a triple curl, or however many curls we can get on here, because I like that look on the jewelry. Some jewelry, I've seen people make, wire jewelry when they take their beads and they wrap the wire around it. I just think it looks really nice, looped over, and I also feel like I have more security when I have a double loop. Not saying that that's much, but there we go. We're going to do a few more together, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and finish assembling these up, and then come back and we'll attach everything to our chain and put our charms on. So we got this one, and with the decorative pieces at the bottom, you want to make sure it's kind of cute. I think this is fine, especially like if I was to say this represents a flower, especially if you're riding a bike, or even if you go to the gift shop on the ship, if you're on a cruise. It works out. Now these pieces can be a little bit on the easier to bend side, so just keep that in mind. Some of the materials that you use, you have to be aware of your material. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I folded it over at a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to cut it. And then when I cut it off, I'm going to take it, and now you can decide on how long, how wide you want your circle to be by where you put your wire at on the tip of your, if you put it on the tip, it's going to be a smaller circle. If you put it right here, it's going to be a larger circle. So you can put it right there and fold it over just like that and adjust as needed. Again, I always tell you all that my eye pens don't always look the best, but they get the job done. All right, and so I just go in and make it, I fix it to how I want it to be fixed. Now right here you can sand this down with a little jewelry sanding piece if you want, if it's poking up, and I always just check it just to see, you don't want it to snag on your purse or your shirt or your backpack or something, and it gets so snagged that it comes apart. So that's what you want to make sure when you are fixing this. So I'm going to go down and make this a little bit smaller so I can make a double loop on there. I just like those. I feel better about the double loops versus a single loop. Now, the one thing I didn't tell you all to have today was patience, but you know that you need patience when you're doing this. In any crafting, you need a little bit of patience. And we're going to do another one of these. This is just really cool in my opinion. This can be some grass, water, when you're riding a bike, or you're passing by an area. Even if you're on the train and you get a chance to pass by like a field of animals, especially since I'm in Texas, we always pass by like animals, and this can be a flower or whatever. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're making your I know you're like, what? When you're making your charms, it's really up to you, your imagination, and visual imagery. I was watching a video, and the person was like, you can always get your cues from nature. A lot of people use colorways. For me, I just always try to pick. I haven't used any other assistance besides just imagining if I'm riding, like, with these transportation charms. If I'm riding my bicycle, what would I see? In my area, if I was to ride the bike, I would see lots and lots of trees right now. They're building some new homes, so maybe some industrial things. So we got those done. I'm gonna go ahead and make about 20 something more, and we'll come back and do some assembling. I wanted to come back before I get like into it and I forget that you don't have to make your charm short. Okay, so for example, let's pull out our chain. Right, so you got your chain, and you have all your stuff on here. Say you want your first piece, say if you want your chain to dangle. So you have your charm, let's just pretend this is a charm, and you have everything here. If you want to put a charm that dangles down like this with a little bit on here, you can. It doesn't have to be a short dangle like I have. And the reason why I'm saying is because sometimes, you know, we can get caught up in trying to make them as short as possible, whatever. But for me, I think for chunky charms, I've seen people do chunky charms and they're like super large. What's the purpose of your chunky charm? If you want it to go on a junk journal, you know, you may make it like super cute. Or if you want a few charms to go on to something, you know, your keychain. I never really say put it on your keychain because it can weigh down, especially if you have a key and ignition type of vehicle. It could mess up the ignition. So, you know, like this is small enough, so this would probably go next to my train because I don't want to overshadow the charm. But like these, the short ones, you know, I'll also put the shorter ones next to the bicycle because I want the bicycle to be present. But also you can take this and put a jump ring on, and we'll discuss that in the next portion of this once I finish assembling all these dangles. But you can put this piece onto your chunky charm as well, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so as I'm working on assembly, I want to discuss also with you just real quick weight. If you, you know, even though we just talked about it, if you have a lot of heavy material, the charm will be heavier versus lighter material. So like this is a glass bead, but this is plastic acrylic, so this is much lighter than the glass bead in some instances. Like this glass bead is heavy, so you have to keep that in mind when you're creating these. I would not recommend putting a lot of these pieces on your charm unless you know, if you're doing a commission and your client says this is what I want you to use, or if that's like your go-to and you like using it because it makes your creations look beautiful, then of course you can use those. But in my experience, from when I've been doing them, I just like to use a random assortment of various materials for a few reasons. One of the reasons is it makes it look unique and different. Like this looks like a lady. You know, I always do that when I do those. But see, when I get ready to fold this over, I always have to say, am I going to be able to get that to the right length? And the answer is probably no. So that is something to keep in mind. Like this, I think this is a glass, like a crackle glass bead, but it's a lighter weight. So if you have lightweight pieces, you know, I would recommend using those, especially if it's like nothing that you are intending to be super fancy. Now, if you want to be super fancy and you feel like you have to use your best gemstones to make your dangles, then, you know, do that. I don't like that piece right there. I'm going to put this little bead, spacer bead or whatever right here, and then redo it. Now when you're doing this, I would say if you have all your beads that you have that you want to get laid out, don't overthink it. Just grab the beads because you already know that the color combination is going to be good. And for our case, this is as you're traveling, you know, it's a travel charm. So anything, like when I was doing this, like these look like bees to me kind of, but also, you know, again, the train tracks, flowers on the side of the train tracks, you know, the wildflowers, the, you know, it's just different things that I can visualize in my head when I'm traveling and I see things. You know, I don't get a chance to sit on the passenger side a lot, but when I do, I try to take in all the scenery that I can, and that's what I think about as I'm creating this. Like even in the ocean, like what do you see in the ocean? Just lots of, you can see animals, dolphins, if you're in those types of water. But when I did my cruise, I didn't really stay outside to look at any of that. I was like on inside mostly, sightseeing and, you know, partaking in the activities that they have on the ship. So like this right here is just a different, you know, random assortment of colors, but all together it's going to look really nice. Okay, so I've decided kinda that these are the not complete, and the ones on my left are the complete. And I was thinking if we're gonna do travel, you know, like transportation travel, then maybe I should incorporate the other charms in. So, you know, like if you ride the train, what's associated with the train that you see, you know, if you take the car, etc., etc. But I think we're gonna leave it like this, and I think that this charm may be a little bit too long, too short in the instance of all these pieces that we have, but we're gonna see. So we got our little charms right here, and so we got our train charm, we got our car charm, our boat charm, and then we have our bike and airplane charm. Now what I normally do is, because you know I usually count all my links and make sure that it is X amount of links, which you know however many it is, and then I divide it up and I go all willy-nilly crazy with the numbers and things like that. But today we're going to take a walk on the wild side, and we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to take our split ring. We have two split rings that we're going to be using. We have the normal keychain split ring, and we have the tiny little key chain or split ring that we're going to be applying on here. And I just have a split ring splitter because for me it's a lot easier to do. So all I'm doing is I'm taking the split ring splitter, opening it up, and I'm putting my link on there. And normally what I tend to do is, because it's a lot easier to do this, is take this piece. Now when you put this on here, you can bend your split ring, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you don't bend it. So I'm going to lean in a little bit, and hopefully I don't bump or breathe too heavy. I have been thinking about these projects. I have so many projects coming up in the new year that I want to try and do everything. The one thing that I probably won't tell, I won't say ever, but I don't want to tell you all that I'm doing a no spin, because sometimes, for me at least, whenever I tell myself I'm not going to do something, I am a self-saboteur, and that would make me mad. Okay, so this is the problem with not having thumbnail. I cut my thumb in December, earlier this month, or either November, and it still hasn't, it was in November, I believe, recovered. And so I'm struggling in my, you know, like the little bitty tiny nerve ending that you have right there. It kind of hurts. So, but we're going to make it through. Just going to put that down. I'm just going to take just some pliers, and I'm going to turn that. And there we are. It is now on there. Fully assembled, ready to hold something. And with this one, we don't have to be too fussy about it, but since, you know, we have the material, the tools, we're going to use it just so, you know, it makes life a little bit easier. And then we're just going to pull this on around. Now, the thing about jump ring versus split rings is the split ring, in my opinion, gives your chain more security. You could take two jump rings and attach them and do the exact same thing, but the split rings just give it more security. And so what I want to do is I'm going to get out my split rings for my charms. I thought I had pulled out enough, but I did not. I wasn't really paying good enough attention, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4, Brandy, not 5. And these are in various sizes. So with the train, because this train is so, it's like, look at me. I demand, not command, but demand attention, which is so cool. I love it. We're going to put this right here, and we're going to try our best to attach this without getting so upset. Now this is a smaller jump ring only because the train is so big, and I don't feel like we need to have the same size. Like with the bike, we'll have a big jump ring, big split ring, because we need that. And I am only going to show you attaching the bottom charm and the top charm to these jump rings, and then I'll come back once I get all of them on, because You know, once you see me struggle with one, you don't need to see me struggle with all 4 or 20 or whatever. Um, Now, what you could do if you have a really hard time getting it assembled is you could take this piece and put it on a jump ring and then attach the jump ring to the split ring. But we're going to work our way through it and we're going to get this attached. Okay, so once you have it attached, I'm just going to slide this down some, and then I'm going to use my good sense, hopefully. And you can see that it's open right here. And we're just going to put our chain on there as well, because the goal is to make sure that the chain and the jump ring, the split ring, are all attached to it. So we're going to take this piece, the very end of the chain, and attach it to the open part of our split ring. And you know, I always say this, I need to bring my glasses to this table because I can't see. That's definitely something I need to remember. I'm just going to hold this because I want to make sure I can grip it once I do get it on there. And it shouldn't be that hard to do once you get it right there, especially if you have a good thumbnail. And I'm not talking about pictures. All right. So there we are, and it is attached. Nice going. Now this is cute by itself because this charm is so pretty and big. You really, you know, if you had a little crazy person that lived in your house that was attracted to trains, this would be cute to put on their backpack or something like that. But because we're doing a travel theme, we're going to put this all on here. And I could have put this at the very top, but no. No. We're going to put this at the bottom because that's kind of like the focal point. It's so big. All right, and so now we're going to do this piece, a large piece. And take this large piece, take our bike because it's the smallest piece right here. And these charm pieces have a good opening, a good round. It's not thin, it's not flimsy. It's really thick, which is really good because you don't want a small little piece falling off. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down just a scotch, and I'm going to attach it to this second link from the jump ring or split ring. Actually, I think I'm going to do the third one, and then I'll come right back. Okay, and so this is how it looks. It dangles off of there with this really, like, look at me, bold statement. Even though it's small, now you can see it kind of dangling off. If you only want to just use charms on a chain, you could do that too. But we're going to go ahead and attach the rest of the pieces. And what I'm going to do, because, you know, I had your time for a while, I'm going to show you how to attach 2 of these, and then I'll go ahead and attach the rest and come back at the very end and just share the project with you. So we see ours at the bottom or top. See how it looks, and then we see the manufacturer split. I usually use, if it's really ugly, I'll use mine because it's like, oh, I don't want anybody to see it. But if it's okay, it doesn't matter. But in this instance, I am going to use mine anyway because it's a double, and I just want to do that one because I'm going to use a jump ring right here versus a split ring. And with the jump rings, if you haven't been here before or you haven't watched anyone do it, you take your jump ring, you find the opening, and you just twist it to you or away from you. Don't pull it apart, just twist it. So we're going to take this, and right next to the very top one, we're going to attach it. And the reason why is because if I'm riding my bike, I'm more prone, I feel like, to see a lot of pretty flowers. So I'm going to put like the lighter, prettier, brighter, bolder colors at the top and closer to the train portion. Because, you know, sometimes when you're in a train, it just takes you to the ugly part. So we're going to do that, like the darker colors at the bottom. especially you got to go through a lot of tunnels, over bridges, and that, you know, that's why I put some black and blue, because when I'm doing that, I want to see water. Now in the sky, you can see everything, so I want to put the train probably in the middle somewhere. You're going to see a bunch of random things, but this is how it looks for now, and I'll come back when we're done. So this is how it looks with all the charms on there. I think it looks really pretty. Just like this, you know, if you're making a charm bracelet, you could be done almost in a few charms on there. But we didn't make this a long one, we made it a small one. So let's go ahead and put all those on, and then I'll come back again. Okay, so a few things I want to say before I show it to you. I decided to not worry about what was at the top and what was at the bottom. I just wanted it to be pretty, and I think I accomplished it. Also, normally when I make a chunky charm, I put something in each chain, each link, but in this time, I ran out of space before I ran out of charms. I didn't put one in every, not charms, but dangles and charms. I didn't put a charm or a dangle on every space, but I think it is very pretty. And you can definitely see the charms because they stand out, because they're the only things that are in there, right? You know, I was thinking, I guess you guys probably was thinking, Brandy, you know, you went from bike to car to airplane to boat to train. The train probably should have been before the car or after the car, but the train was the focal point, right? I love how it looks. Very pretty. Look at this the boat. You've been on a cruise before. Airplane. So when I went on my first cruise to the Bahamas, I've only been once to the Bahamas, but when I took the cruise, I had to fly to Florida from here to go there, and then the bike. So actually, it's so funny because I left here, I took a bus to Houston, and then a plane to Florida, right? Because it's cheaper. Anyway, that is my BeebeeCraft Project Share Chunky Charm using the transportation charms that I got. If you're interested, everything will be in the description box. Also, you can use a code and get $5 off, and that'll be in the description box as well. I want to say thank you all for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed. Until next time, happy crafting.